Algebra. We are back with CO56. You should already have these notes written in as far as what slope-intercept form is, what standard form is. So I'll ask you to help me here. What is slope-intercept form? Shay, what do you have written for slope-intercept form there?
Y equals mx.
That's good. That's correct. Standard form. Evan, what do you have written for standard form?
AX plus BY equals C.
AX plus BY equals C is good. That is correct. And so then we went into kind of the two steps for converting an equation from standard form to slope-intercept form. And I told you the advantage to this was that if you're given a linear equation in slope-intercept form, you can graph it. Y-intercept, slope. We've done that before. Sometimes, though, you'll be given a linear equation in standard form. And being able to graph that, you'd first need to convert it into slope-intercept form. So the second part of this, the second page to this, you'll see coordinate planes on there. You're back to graphing equations, but this time they're given to you in standard form so that you can convert them to slope-intercept form first in order to put them on the coordinate plane. And what are the two steps to convert from standard to slope-intercept? Kate, give me step one.
Move x term to the side using opposite operations.
Yes, move the x term to the other side using those opposite operations. Okay, and what was step two? Kylie.
Divide all terms by the coefficient to y.
Divide all terms by the coefficient to y. Okay, so if you don't have those steps, get them down. That's what we're going to be practicing today. Okay, so if we did the first couple together, I mentioned to you it's important to show work, especially to get those signs. It's very easy to lose signs here. So when I check in homework tomorrow, I am going to be looking for not just the answer, but the work that you did to find it. Okay, and what's the work I need to do to find it? Well, the work you need to find it is what we're going to put up here. All right, so if you do the method that I show you here, you'll be just fine. 2x plus 7y equals 7. Step one, move that x term over using opposite operations. What does that look like here? In this specific one, what does moving the x term over to the other side look like? Tyler?
Minus 2.
Subtracting 2x, good. Okay? And when we move that over to the other side, we talked about it's not going to be 7 minus 2x to get 5x, right? Because that 7 doesn't have an x. You might want to write that minus 2x kind of to the side of it. Just to remember not to make that mistake. You can't actually combine 7 and negative 2x because they're not like terms. How should you write the right side of that equation there? How should you write that? Subtracting 2x from the right side. Knowing that we're going to slope-intercept form and thinking what slope-intercept form is, y equals mx plus b, think of the order. How should that right side be written? Try that again?
Minus 2x plus 7.
Yeah, good. We want that x term to come first, right? To get that y equals mx plus b, the x term is right after the equal sign. So that negative 2x is going to go before the 7. That's step one. Step two now, divide everything by that coefficient to y. We talked about maybe writing it division a fraction bar, because when you take that negative 2x divided by 7, we don't want the decimal value of that. This is your slope. Slope is a fraction anyway, and that decimal in particular goes on and on and on and on and on. Okay? So even though it doesn't divide evenly, that's okay. Slope is a fraction. You just write it as negative 2/7 x. Right? If you can't divide it out, don't. Leave it in fraction form, just like it is. Negative 2/7. Because on the corner plane, it means you're going down 2 and over 7, right? If you put this as a decimal, and I asked you to graph, negative 0.29x, like, how do I do that? We haven't done that before. You're right, we haven't, because we don't. We leave it in fraction form so that we get that down 2 over 7. Okay? 7y divided by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1, so that cancels out. We're left with 1y, or just y by itself. And then 7 divided by 7 on the right side gives us a y-intercept, or a b-value of positive 1. So y equals negative 2/7 x plus 1 is your equation. Yes, sir?
How'd you get the 1?
7 divided by 7. You have 7 things. You put them into 7 groups. Each group will have 1 item in it.
Oh, yeah.
Anything divided by itself is 1. Anything divided by itself is 1. Other questions?
Core 22 by 2.
Huh?
So anything core.
What?
What?
Anything divided by itself is 1.
Yes. Anything divided by itself is 1.
Core.
Or you're quoting me. Oh, yes. Yes. I wish I was the first person to say that in the world, but alas, no. It's just a mathematical rule. Let's look at the next one. Negative 5x plus 8y equals 24. What does moving that x term over look like in this example? Carter. Okay. Look like you had your hand up. Sorry. What is moving that x term over using opposite operations? What does that look like in this example? Negative 5x. Okay.
Plus 5x.
Adding 5x. You were going to say that, weren't you?
No.
Oh. I was trying to throw you a bone. In this case, we're going to add 5x because it's negative to start with, right? The opposite of negative 5x is a positive 5x. Okay? We subtracted 2x in the first one because it started out positive. We're adding 5x in this one because it starts out negative. We're going to write that. This cancels out. We're left with 8y. That positive 5x is going to go first because we want slope-intercept form. And then the plus 24. Second step, Carter, divide everything by that coefficient to y. Divide everything by 8. 5 divided by 8 doesn't work out evenly, but do we care?
No.
No. It's supposed to be a fraction. If it does divide evenly, great. But if it doesn't matter. Leave it in fraction form, 5/8 x. 8 divided by 8 on the front is 1, so we're left with 1y, or is y by itself. And 24 divided by 8 gives us positive 3. Okay. Next one. What does moving that x term over look like in this example? It starts negative 3x. What does it look like to move it over? Jack.
Plus 3.
Adding 3x. Opposite operations. Okay, on the left side it cancels out. This one you gotta be careful. Here's where kind of those signs start to pop up. Okay, it's a negative 3y in the equation. That subtraction sign belongs to that negative 3. So when you write your next line, it does need to be a negative 3y. Okay, it does need to be a negative 3y. So what are we dividing by now? Negative 3. And that coefficient to y is negative 3. And this time, our x term there, 3x divided by negative 3, that does divide evenly. Okay? So what is 3 divided by negative 3?
1.
Close. Negative 1, right? So you got that one side there. So you can either put negative 1x or just the x by itself. Negative x, either one's fine. Okay? Negative 1x or just negative x. Negative 3 divided by itself is 1. 1y. Y is by itself. And 12 divided by negative 3 is a negative 4. So y equals negative x or negative 1x minus 4. Okay? Tony.
So I noticed something.
Yeah.
So the second one, negative 5x plus 8y, that's 5/8 is subtraction 5 and 8 both, and then if you do negative 5 plus 8, it's 3.
Yes, that is true for that one. It doesn't work for the other ones though. So the thing you gotta be careful of when you're looking for patterns is, sometimes you find a pattern that seems to work for a couple cases. If you use it for all cases, that's when you run into problems there. So it's a nice connection. but it doesn't have anything to do with the process. But I'm glad you're paying attention, looking for those relationships. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to give you about 6 minutes or so to do the next 3 on your own. I'm going to come around, walk around, take a look, check things out, see how things are coming along. Do show your work. This is the work I want to see. Show me how you're moving the X term over. Show me what you are dividing by. The biggest reason for that is if you make a mistake, it's a lot easier to see where that mistake happened than if you just put an answer down. Okay? So work doesn't even show. Cole? Yes. All right. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to walk around, check things out, and you can get to work. We are back. 3, 2, 1. You are quiet. Johnny, Griffin, we're back recording. Thank you. So things, you know what? Walking around, I did not see people making the mistake of just taking that 4x and putting it on the other side. You did a really good job of using opposite operations. What I did see though, some of you, when you move that 4x over, you forgot that that negative sign, that subtraction sign, belongs to the 6y. So it'd be a negative 6y in the next line. And then when you divided by negative 6, I saw several just leaving that slope as negative 4 over negative 6x. Okay? Fractions do need to be simplified. A negative 4 divided by negative 6, the negatives cancel out, and 4/6 simplifies to be positive 2/3. Okay? So make sure your fractions are in simplest form. That was one of the biggest thing that I saw, in addition to forgetting that that negative sign belongs to that y term. It happened here also, right? That sign belongs to the y term. It should be a negative 4y in your next line. Otherwise, things look pretty good. Things look pretty good, okay? Any questions on these 3 before we go on to the second page?
Can you give us the answer for the
Yeah, this one is going to be y equals negative 5/2 x plus 11. And this one is going to be y equals negative 9/8 x minus 7.
Thank you.
Okay. Yes, Skyler.
For the middle, did you put the negative sign anywhere?
Yes, the negative sign. When a fraction's negative, it means either the numerator's negative and the denominator's positive, or the numerator's positive and the denominator's negative, or the whole fraction's negative, and that sign's kind of out in front of the fraction bar. All 3 of those things mean the same. It wouldn't matter how you write it. Typically, you'll see the fraction with either the numerator or just out in front, but technically the other way is correct as well. Okay? All right, your assignment for tomorrow. On the next page, we're going to jump right down to the Mr. Heavy Pencil section. And you are to not only convert into Slope-Intercept form, but then graph the equation as well.
There's no numbers.
What's that? The numbers are come from here.
No, on the graph.
Oh, yes. We'll use counting skills. You can do it. Okay? I'm sorry they didn't copy off too well.
Why not the graphs with the negative 3 and the positive?
Because I decided to go away from those. The whole page. We're starting with, there's only 6 of them. Okay? 6 of them. So let's do one together. Pick one you'd like to go over.
The last one, that's always the hardest.
I'll pick Tony because he had his hand up.
Last one.
Okay. So negative 5x minus 4y equals 4. Our first step is to convert this into Slope-Intercept form. And so looking back at what you just did, and we're successful on, and looking back at your notes from the first page, our first step is going to be add 5x to both sides. Move that x term over using opposite operations. Okay? Don't forget, that subtraction sign belongs to the 4y. It's going to make a negative 4y equals 5x plus 4. Negative 4y equals 5x plus 4. What's our next step?
The fraction.
Tony?
The fraction.
The fraction, right? Which means what? What?
Coefficient.
Goldfish.
Coefficient.
Oh, coefficient. Divide by the coefficient 2y. So we're dividing everything by -4. Okay? The -4's divided by 1. Y is by itself. And here's why you don't want to write this as a decimal. If you take 5 divided by -4 as a decimal, you get -1.25. That's not going to be very helpful for you when you try and graph this, right? Because when we graph equations, we want that slope. We want that fraction. So we're going to leave it as -5/4.
Negative.
5 divided by -4 would be a -5/4, right? And then +4 divided by -4 is a -1. Okay? So how do we graph this? Shane? Oh, do you have a question?
I just have a question. Can we do the one up above it?
Let's finish this one first, because we're not done yet, right? How do we graph this? We've written it in slope. We've done the hard part. We've written it in slope-intercept form. How do we graph it now? Camille?
Don't you like graph -1 with the y-axis?
Yep,
And then
we-
go like down 5/4.
Excellent. We plot -1 on the y-axis. That's the y-intercept. From that point, we use that slope, that fraction, -5/4 means we're going down 5 and over 4. Right? You always go to the right. Down 5, right 4. Okay? Since our slope is negative, our line is sloping downward from left to right, as it should. Negative slope, downward slope. Okay? And that would be our graph. Johnny?
Oh, but is it how like it straight and be good? Does the line have to be?
As straight and good as you can make it. You'll see mine are not perfect, so I don't expect perfection, but try and hit the dots in a straight line way. Okay, Shay asked for the one above this. We have a couple minutes left. We can roll through quickly. 12x plus 9y equals -36. Our first step, move that extreme over using opposite operations. Subtract 12x from both sides. Okay. We're left with 9y equals -12x minus 36. That 36 being negative, minus 36. Yes, Shay?
Let me rephrase. I already got it. I just don't know how to graph it.
Okay. Well, we have to get to the equation to graph first. Our next step now, we're dividing by 9, divided by that coefficient to y. 9 divided by 9 equals 1. 1y. Y is by itself. What does -12 ninths simplify to be? Jeffrey?
4 over 3.
Yep, but keep that sign, okay? -4/3 x. And then -36 divided by 9 is a -4. So Shay, this is where you need the help then?
Nope. Never mind. I just forgot. Yeah, sure.
All right, how do we graph this? We have it in slope-intercept form. How do we go about graphing it? Abby?
We start at -4.
Plot -4 on the y-axis. That's the y-intercept. That's that b value.
And then you go down 4 and then over 3.
From this point, down 4 over 3. There's your second point. Right? -4 over 3, just like our slope says.
It's like the exact same thing as the bottom one, but like a little higher.
What was the slope on the bottom one?
observation.
-5/4.
-5/4 and -4/3 will be close because you're going down and over, which is one difference. So yeah, it's not exactly the same, but it does look close. You are correct. The rest of these 4 are homework for tomorrow. Show me the work. Show me the work. Show me the work. That's how you math.
Oh, don't forget to like it.